Today is Sunday the 5th. Last night I ended up winning Europe's Strongest Man for the first time, and this is my feelings the morning after. I've really tried to work hard on my mindset, that positivity, the focus, the drive going forward in my mind, rather than in previous competitions I maybe didn't take myself seriously, and in turn that created the wrong mindset for me. So for me, I'm a professional athlete. I'm one of the best athletes in the world. So I need to start acting like that. So that's why we took on board the psychologist. So the kind of work we've done with that, there's a pre-performance routine that I go through in my head. So it's just, I work very well with tick boxes, so I just need to tick off these things. So for me, when I got into the arena on the way down, I've got my music that I listen to that kind of gets me in that zone, or tells my mind that that switch is kind of gone. I flick that switch, and then that's where that focus comes in. And then when I get to the arena, I walk through the events. So for shield carry, I kind of walked up and down the course kind of 2.5 times. That's what I've done before. The car walk kind of replicated that. The log press replicated that. Then, pitching the stones, the deadlift, and all that's just these check boxes that I need to go through in order for me to be able to compete to my optimum, I guess. Excuse me, but I felt very confident yesterday, which was, I think I credit to myself, I credit to my mind. In all honesty, training hadn't gone the best. But 2.5 weeks ago, my injury kind of eased up enough so I could start training again. So, in theory, I've had 2.5 weeks of training coming into Europe's Strongest Man. But for me, the physicality, the physical strength was always there. That's not an issue. I've said it before, it's if my mind will allow me to win the competition. So I've got to train my mind daily, every hour of the day, to allow me to believe and have that positivity, to be able to see the potential, and get rid of the self-doubts that I had before. So I've said before that as long as I've still got these self-doubts, I'm never going to live up to my full potential. So those self-doubts have subsided. I'm just positive. I've just got that mindset that I am going to do this. And now, that's the first competition I've really done and kind of put that mindset into play. And I've won Europe's Strongest Man. So the proof's in the pudding, and it works. If I didn't learn to adapt or change my mindset, I'd still be a good strongman, don't get me wrong, but the mindset you need, that's why I like to kind of spend time with Eddie, Hafthor, Brian, Alexi. These guys are, their minds are solid in what they do. They have that self-belief. So if I'm going into a competition with doubts, that's doubting myself, well, if I'm saying the shield carry, I'm going to only do one run. These guys are much better than me. The deadlift, if I haven't deadlifted that weight in a long time, so I'm not going to be able to do any reps. If I'm going in with that doubts, then I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to live up to my expectations that I set myself and the potential that I have. So if I'm going in with these doubts, then it's going to kind of flow out of me, that negativity. So whereas that's why I put my headphones on, so I don't have people come up and speaking to me, because everyone has doubts. Everyone that was competing yesterday have doubts. So if they're coming up to me, offloading their doubts on me, then that's that negative energy, and I don't need that. So that's why I'm kind of sat by myself, just focused, listen to my music. There's a song that I listen to before I go out every time now. So it's about confidence. So that's what I need to kind of be. I need to be this confident guy, and I need to be confident in any event I do, going up against any guy that I go up against. And without that mindset, that all breaks down. I think it all it starts with the physical training, you know, getting yourself up to that level, but then it finishes with the mindset. And for me, that was the final checkbox I need to kind of win these shows. And yeah, here we are, here at Strongest Man. So event 1, World Loglift Championships. So fortunately, I was the last guy out. I was number 10 on the order. I remember being sat there. I wasn't watching the guys kind of lift, so to speak, but when they came back, everyone looked very dejected. Everyone looked very kind of pissed off. So I took it that not many people were getting the opening lift. For me, again, I wasn't focused on anyone else. Again, all I had to do was go out and lift, and that was it. You know, it's simple. I've done log press so many times now. The log for me felt fine. The log didn't. I think some guys were saying it was slippy or whatever. Maybe it was, I don't know, but for me it felt okay. The only issue I had was there was a spotlight on the 207, kind of that was directly in your eyes. But I remember saying to myself prior to driving down on the Thursday that I needed to take my sunglasses. Didn't take them, so that was my mistake. You know, if I'm pressing a log in World's Strongest Man outside, if the sun's directly in my line of sight, I can't move that. I can't do that. I've got to be ready for every possible outcome, and that was a mistake on my half. It wasn't even the fact that I didn't press, it was more the mistake that I made by not wearing my sunglasses. That kind of frustrated me. You know, fortunately it was good enough to take the win. Myself and Graham Hicks kind of took the win, but it wasn't where I wanted it to be. But again, I think I said in the interview I gave you before that the show was more important than the record, and I'm just thankful that I've won the show rather than the record. So the opening weight was 180 kilos. I stepped up. It felt really comfortable. It's probably one of the fastest I've pressed 180. There was no big deal there, and then I believe we went up to second attempt was 195. Again, 195 felt really comfortable, and I believe it was just Hicksy and myself that pressed the 195. Everyone knows what an awesome presser Hicksy is. Just incredible shoulder power, incredible pop. And great to see Alexia hitting the 180. I know speaking to him before, he was kind of worried about that because he's got kind of similar issues with his knees. His patellas kind of flare up when he presses. Yeah, so for him to get the 180, there's only three of us that got the press. So yeah, pretty cool to be one of those threes. But for me, my attempt in the 207, I should have got that. I should have pissed that, but unfortunately. It's one of those things. I'm not going to beat myself up. It's a learning curve. So for me, every show I do now, I'll have a pair of sunglasses in my bag. It's simple. It's those mistakes that can be easily cut out. Unfortunately, you know, the great Iron Bibby himself, he didn't make it due to kind of some issues with his flights and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see Bibby press something big. Bibby for me is one of the nicest guys in the sport, and any kind of accolades or credit that he gets is very well deserved. He's just a genuinely nice guy, and you know what he's gone through, obviously, you know, losing his father and everything like that. Big credit to him for coming across here and putting in that effort to actually want to do it. You know, he's biting at the bit to do it, and I sincerely hope Iron Bibby does it, and then I lift more. Yeah. So event 2 is the shield walk for max distance. There's a 20-metre course. You go up, touch the line or break the line, and then back again for as many times as you can. Pre-event checklist, as it were. You know, like I said, I went up and down the course a couple of times, just kind of visioning breaking the line, going back, and kind of just getting that in my head, that mental preparation. So the shield carry is very big. You know, it's a big chunky shield, and So I had it quite high up in my biceps. So if you have it higher up in the biceps, then it's got further to slip down, so you can almost get more time slipping down your arms. So I had that quite high up, and initially I was leaning quite far back, which put a lot of pain onto my hamstrings and glutes. So I knew I couldn't last, leaning so far back with the pain in my hamstrings. So I just kind of changed it a little bit and leant forward, so it took away the pain, which was a really good shout because I managed to, like in my head, I was just gonna go until I couldn't go anymore. That's what I do. So I like these type of events where it's just pain. That's all it is for me. I can deal with pain. So I got up to maybe 5 meters before the second run, and the shield kind of slipped. But there's an indent in it, so there's like a cutout in the centre, not the centre, but maybe a couple inches in or an inch in, so you can grab it with your fingertips. So the last kind of 10 metres, I suppose I was doing it was just fingertips. So, but again, that's that drive that I have to do these things. It's not, I keep saying it, what we go through in a competition isn't real pain. It's just, it's discomfort. We're not comfortable, but it doesn't last. That pain passes, so it's not real pain. 5 minutes we're ready to go again. So if I can give 100% in everything I do, that's all I can ask from myself. So I was pretty chuffed with the second place finish in the Shield Walk. Marius Lalas, I've watched him a few times before in Shield Walk and stuff like that, and he's one of the best in the world. So the way he set out, he was running with it, man. He was just like a steam train. Back, did one run, then back again, and then. But it was funny though, you can see he was going, and then his hamstrings probably started to seize up his lower back, his glutes. But yeah, fair play, man. He smashed it. He was very impressive in this event, and he got the win, finished first place in this one. So event 3 was the axle deadlift for reps. It was 360 kilos. Again, I had a good mindset going into it. I knew there was a few reps there. I wanted 6 reps. If I could have got 6 reps, that would have been really, really good points for me. And I think that is there. I know it's there. But the way, I don't know what happened, but the way I was pulling, I was feeling a lot of pain in my inner pec. I don't know if it was cramp, but like in the third rep when I pulled it, it just started to kind of spasm a wee bit. So I knew for me personally that the last 2 events were really strong for me. So I could have maybe squeezed at another rep or maybe another 2 reps, but I knew the reps I needed was 6 reps to get good points. So for me, finishing with 3 reps or 5 reps would have been the same result. So I think I was 4th from bottom or 3rd from bottom in this one. So I still got some points, which is the main thing for me. But with the guys, Rowna, Heinle smashing him out, he's a beast in deadlifts. And then Hicksy as well. Hicksy really impressed me because he's just come back from the States. He was last weekend, competed out there, one of the heaviest shows I think that's out there. And then coming to this show and smashing the deadlifts like he did, he's a beast, man. It's exciting to see Hicksy kind of back to where he should be. And yeah, his deadlift performance was pretty special.
How did Novikov do on deadlifts?
I think it was 6, was it 6 reps? So yeah, Alexei deadlifts. I think he was saying he had an issue with his suit that seemed very tight, so it took him a little minute to get into that properly, into that groove. I think he got 6 reps. I think he finished 4th in that event. I'm not 100% sure, but it was around that. So he did well. Alexei's just off the back of pulling a £1,000 deadlift. So he's a great deadlifter. There's no disputing that. So yeah, he did really well. There was, I think, after that event, I think I was in front by 2.5. No, a point. I was a point in front of Graham after the actual deadlift going into the car walk. So event 4 was the Giants Live car walk, 20-metre course, quickest time wins. So this is I quite like these events now. Yoke, I guess it's like a similar to yoke, but it's the car's a little bit more awkward. So it was quite running with it after kind of 10 meters. I kind of felt like it was a bit too extended. I was like almost like hyperextending my knees. It felt quite strange, and my patellas, my left patella was really inflamed at this point. It was quite painful. So maybe that was something to do with it. I don't know, but the I knew I could put in a fast time. I knew I was going to be up there in this one, so I just really wanted to, push on and kind of do it. Just before the finish line, maybe 2-3 meters before, I just dropped it down, but it was almost like a touch and go. Okay, fine, dropped it, but then I managed to pick it up straight away. It was maybe, I'd say, a second lost, which isn't bad. I shouldn't have dropped it. I shouldn't be dropping it. That's a mistake on my half. But it was good. It was still good. It was enough for second place. Alexei smashed it again. I think he got just over 10 seconds, which was incredible. So yeah, big up to Alexei on that one. And then that put me in quite a commanding position going into the last event. I think I was then 2.5 points in front of second, in front of Alexei, going into the last event. So it was mine to lose, basically, going in the stones. Event 5, the Castle Stones. So 5-stone run, quickest time wins. So this, it was a nice position to be in for me. I knew I was 2.5 points. I know I'm one of the best stone lifters here. I wasn't really focusing on anyone else. I just said to myself, again, put in a fast time. I've done 20-second times most of the time. That's what normally I put in. So it's like, yeah, it's a normal run for me to do 20 seconds. So remember my coach Dan, he said, just don't do anything stupid. All you're doing is lifting stones. So let's not do anything stupid. So yeah, mindset was very solid at this point. There's no doubts in my head that like anything. All I could see myself since driving down on Friday was being in that podium first place. That didn't change throughout the show. Didn't change throughout Friday. Didn't change throughout Saturday. That was it. First place. That's all was in my mind. So it was again just a run through the stones, do it, 20-second run, win Europe's strongest man. That was it. That's all I had to do. It wasn't anything I've not done before. So again, it's just a normal thing for me to do this. So that's where my mind was, and doing it with, Alexei as well. We have a great friendship. I've got a great respect for Alexei. I believe he's one of the greatest athletes in the world in this sport. So for me, it was an honour to go up against Alexei and do battle with him as well. And thankfully the vision worked. I managed to come second in stones. Alexei won stones, and then that gave me first place in the podium and Europe's strongest man. I knew in my head that I'd won it, but I didn't let my emotions come out because yeah, things happen sometimes. So I just wanted to, as soon as the scores went up, I knew that I was just in second place. I put a point behind Alexei, being 2.5 points in the lead. Then I knew I'd won it, so I did a wee dance and celebrated. But then once the kind of final scorings came up, it was just this sheer elation, sheer joy of actually seeing it, it still looks crazy to see, my name in first place in front of all these great athletes. So it's, there was a bit of tension initially. There was a bit of kind of, I didn't want to celebrate. I don't want to, be too premature in my celebration, because I don't want to celebrate and then for me to be told I'm not Europe's strongest man. But yeah, once the scores went up, off the stones, I knew I'd won it, and yeah, it was nice. I think the crowd seemed pretty happy, and yeah, Alexei very respectful and me winning, and said really, very nice stuff towards me, and yeah, that kind of touched my heart in a big way. So big shout out to Alexei for being so respectful and such an awesome guy. He's such a role model and inspiration to us all. I think it's people often make up these things in their head that, oh, I'm only 140 kilos, I'm going up against these guys at 180 plus kilos, and Alexei's that guy that's smashing it all the time. He's podiumed in the last 3 shows. He's won World's Strongest Man. He's one of the greatest strongmen I think that we've ever had, and he's one of the later guys. So for anyone out there doubting themselves because they're not 180 kilos, look at Alexei. Look what Alexei's done, and use that as inspiration and a role model to not make those excuses and just do it. Just go out and train, and that's it. It's simple. Being surrounded with the greats that have won Europe's Strongest Man, it's almost surreal to think. I was saying, I remember, I think when Hafthor won his first title here, we were up in the Sky Bar after, and I was there, and I was just at the bar. I think I probably finished 7th or something, and I looked over at Hafthor, celebrating with all his friends and family, and I'm like, geez, that must be cool, to see someone in the pinnacle of the sport that I do. He's Europe's Strongest Man, and that image has really stuck with me throughout the years. And then to think last night when we went up for a couple of beers and stuff, some food, I was that guy. I just took a moment. I just kind of sat back and just thought about that moment 6, 7, 8 years ago, whenever it was. Like me looking on at Hafthor with this awe and just amazement, that this guy could be so strong. And then that was me last night. That's me now. That's me sharing that title with these guys. So, okay, they've won it maybe a few times and stuff, but I just feel like I'm just getting warmed up. I'm just getting started. The mindset I have now, I think, is the best mindset that anyone's got in the sport, and for me, I just can't wait to keep proving that and keep winning these shows. World's Strongest Man next year, Europe's Strongest Man next year. That's what I want. That's what gets me excited now, and I keep talking about that legacy, that Stoltman legacy. We're just starting that legacy. It's exciting where we could take it, and I think it's only just the beginning. So I look up to Big Z. Sudrinis is he's the GOAT. He's the greatest. Very inspiring what he does. Very successful. Very calm and controlled, and has that mindset that he has that self-belief that he is the best. So he's one of the guys that I look up to. The sheer character and charisma of John Paul. He paved the way for that charisma to come through, and for it to be okay to do that, to be loud and enjoy it, and to give something back to the crowd. So he's one of the characters I really look up to. And then for me, Brian Shaw, the way he conducts himself, as in his family life, the success he has in business, that's something it really inspires me to kind of say, well, these guys have all been very successful, so we need to do that and surpass that success. That's what I envision myself and Tom to do now. So, Brian, Eddie, Thor, the modern day greats, but they're so successful in what they do out with Strongman, which is it's very important for me to create that longevity for us. I know what it's like to I've said it before, to work offshore, work in an oil rig for 16 years, that's not something I ever want to go back to. That's something that I'm fighting every day not to have to do. So when I look at these guys, how successful they are in business, in sport, that's what really pushes me on, to be that successful and hopefully one day surpass that success and be, stand alone in our success and what we do. Yeah, I'm quite vocal about, World's Strongest Man next year, World's Strongest Man 2022. The mindset I had this year was from two and a half months work going into World's Strongest Man. So the work that I can put in now for next year, that mindset, that strength, that belief, that confidence is just going to grow 100 times. So for me, it's all about putting that package together. So for me, winning Europe's Strongest Man this year was, again, a tick. I had to tick that off, prove to myself that I'm good enough to win these shows, and I am. So again, I've beaten last year's World's Strongest Man, Alexei Novikov, and all these other great athletes to win Europe's Strongest Man. Going forward, it's back to the drawing board training hard, mindset, positivity, working with a psychologist, following our coach, nutrition, everything now is going to be amplified 100 times. For me, that's where I complete my legacy in Strongman to win World's Strongest Man 2022. That's what I need to do to get that closure in the legacy, I think. Yeah, so yesterday, I guess, in a nutshell for me was, I felt I was very focused, very driven and determined. The kind of, the things out with my control now, I don't get worked up about that. I stay focused. I've got a job to do. Yesterday I had a job to do. I'm a professional strongman. I'm competing in one of the biggest shows in the world, Europe's Strongest Man, Giants Live, in front of, I don't know, 8,000 people, 10,000 people. So for me, I've got to fulfil my duty as a professional strongman. That's all I felt yesterday was, I'm here as a professional. Stick to the game plan. That's what I did. The crowd were intense. It was amazing. Like, I get goosebumps just thinking about it now. The kind of cheer and the roar, and that's what makes it for me. These Giants Live shows, we've got the best crowds, supporters, fans, whatever you want to call them, in the world. So to have 10,000 plus people in Leeds Stadium was absolutely insane. And for me to come out on top, it was a bit of a fairy tale. To win my first Giants Live show, Europe's Strongest Man, in front of that crowd was just something special. I'll be able to take that for the rest of my life. I am Luke Stoltman, Europe's Strongest Man.